Booyah.
There we are, live and in person with our very special guest, none other but Haji from down the road.
Special guest. Ooh.
Down the road from me, anyways. So,
Yeah.
Before we get things going and before we hopefully some people show up and join us and get in on this live stream event, I don't have much news or announcements other than to say, and John, you can verify this with me, please, if you can, just to make sure I'm on the right track. But next week, we're going on Thursday instead of Wednesday, correcto?
I believe it's next week, yeah, because I have a 2-day corporate shoot on Tuesday, Wednesday. So,
which I tried to get you to cancel, but you said it's just going to cost you too much money. Plus, you'll probably get divorced if that happens.
Well, I'd probably lose the gig, so.
And by the way, I was joking when I said cancel. I always do that.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, good. I never know. I never know when people take me serious or if they think I'm joking or not. So
I look really washed out here.
You do. You're looking a little pale. You're looking a little radiant.
I'm not on my normal camera today, so.
And well, then again, you're not normal, so.
Well, that's true.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, but it's.
You look like Uncle Fester on the Munsters. Sorry, John.
I get it all the time. I usually like, Vin Diesel, The Rock, I usually get those a lot, so.
Except way more handsome and smarter. And probably not as rich, so.
No, and I'm a little scruffy today. I haven't shaved yet.
I'm offended. I'm leaving. So before we get into our conversation with Mr. Hodge, James Hodgins, and talk about whatever it is we're going to talk about, you'll see me bouncing up and down. That's because my back is in a lot of pain. And I apologize. I'm eating some sunflower seeds, which I'm almost done. This is like a nervous affliction with me. It's like chewing bubble gum or smoking cigarettes, And I'm in a lot of pain because of tension. I'm just feeling a lot of stress. And I never get back pain. And it's only the second time in my life I've had this much debilitating pain, and I had it last summer, and it's all because of lockdown stress, and I'm dealing with all that, and it's just like whatever. Okay, people are always telling me cures or ways to, and I got it. I know it'll go away. I'm doing all the things I need to do. But before we got on this, James, you were mentioning a Netflix series called Heal, which is sort of like all about this topic of health through. I'm guessing. I haven't seen it, so I'm guessing it's a lot to do with. Maybe we could start there. It'd be an interesting topic to at least touch on for a minute.
I can sum a small part of it up if you want. The easiest way to describe it is, it's a healthy. We always say healthy body, healthy mind, right? Mm-hmm. And what you think, your body will react. So if you're constantly thinking negative thoughts, your body is going to react negatively. So, a perfect example is like stress. Stress manufactures itself physically, right? Sore back, headaches, fatigue, tiredness, maybe foggy brain or whatever. And I noticed this with myself. It always seems like when you're in a dark place, your body you're just not up to it, right? Your body's just not responding as well. And then when you start thinking about that, I feel like crap. Well, that makes your brain go even more negative because now you're being negative about it, and it's a vicious circle. And I've noticed when you start thinking, things, it always seems like when things start getting better, it seems like you're happier, right? But what comes first? Are you happier and then things get better, or do things get better and then you're happier? I think when you're happier, things get better.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's where it touches on is it's all about negativity, positivity, and your body does have an innate way of healing itself. Your body heals itself just like it heals a cut, right? Yeah. And your body is just it's really interesting.
It's on Netflix.
That's on Amazon Prime. I watched that.
Oh, maybe that's why I haven't heard. Okay,
and it was mentioned to me by another friend who watched it. Who it changed. He said it changed his life. And I believe him because I've seen the difference in his mentally and physically. I've seen the difference. So.
Mind, thoughts are things, but I just want to add to that, and this is something I believe you're going to be on the same page with. Proper nutrition. I mean, you can't have pizzas every day with a dozen butter tarts and a pack of smokes.
You can't?
Well...
Yeah, sorry, John.
Well, everybody's heard that saying, you are what you eat, right? And I mean, our body, you know, and the other thing that people always say is your body's a machine, right? Well, yeah, exactly. So our food is a fuel. I mean, if I put crappy gas in my ice auger, it runs like crap. It chokes, it sputters, or it doesn't start.
That is such a Northern Ontario metaphor.
Exactly.
Everybody's like, "What's an ice auger?" No,
well, I know we're in snow all year round here in Canada.
Yeah, well, you have to get the ice auger out whenever you want to get the outhouse to take a pee first thing in the morning.
Yeah. So, like, I've noticed it with like over the Christmas holidays and that, I ate a lot of sugar. Ate a lot of sugar, and then I started craving sugar, and then I noticed that my brain was like, "Hey, it's time for some sugar." And during that time, I felt like crap after time. And then once I cut sugar out, well, guess what? After a few days, the cravings were gone, and then I've got more energy. I'm sleeping better. I mean, it's you are what you eat. So that's all coincides.
I'm going to check that out. I just want to mention a book, and I want to mention a YouTube video I watched a couple of years ago. The YouTube video was called The Placebo Effect. Blew me away. Try and find it. The Placebo Effect. It's a 1.5 hour documentary. And the book is called Mind-Body Connection by John Sarno. And he was a doctor he's passed away now. He lived up until his 90s, but he was a back pain doctor from New York who healed people 100%. He believed all back pain was linked to emotions. And he became a bit of a celebrity. He was on Oprah, and he healed. Who's that DJ guy, the Jock Shock guy who is still
Howard Stern?
Howard Stern, a big time advocate of this guy, amongst many others who went to him for healing. They said the guy saved my life. And I read his book a while ago when the first time I ever got a little bit of back pain. I said, I remember that guy. I remember seeing him on Oprah, and I thought, interesting. So there's a connection there, and I think it's in line with probably James with that documentary.
Well, actually, Rob, in that documentary, there's a big section on there about the placebo effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the placebo effect
you'll find that interesting.
It really is all about, again, it's the same thing. So Hark's in the house. Howdy, Hark. Howdy, Hark. Howdy, hey.
Sounds like a pirate movie.
Hark is our official pirate, photo pirate. Yeah, we're actually building a big giant boat, and we are going sailing next September. We're heading south. So
sweet. I'm just admiring that nice Canon printer behind James' head there.
Yeah.
That's not that big.
It looks like from here.
That's the old. That's like just an office printer.
Oh, okay. It looks from here like the old that Image Graph 100 or something.
If I go like this, then you can't see the other half. Yeah, that prints out 16 by 20s.
It's 6 feet long, like when you do those pictures of you and your fish. We know the fish ain't that big. So James, tell us what's been going on. I don't know if you have anything because we're kind of winging it here, and
yeah. Well, this was last minute, so it's not like I prepared anything for me.
Yeah, and I want to know why you're not on your laptop, young man.
Because my wife recently just got a new job, so we transferred one of our upstairs bedrooms. We just made her home office because she will now be working from home.
Oh, really?
And so she got her. So here's the thing. This is something else we should talk about, Rob, because this is and John, you'll know this too, because Rob has preached this a lot, right? So my wife has gone through some employment changes and that, and when COVID hit last year, she decided to leave her job, so she took the whole year off. I didn't have her take, but we're in a position where she could take the whole year off because she's worked her whole life. So I said, if you're going to take a year off, now's the time to do it. With COVID aside, best summer of our lives. That being said, when it came time for her new job that she wanted, Rob,
right?
I had her write it out physically.
Nice.
I told her you need to picture it in your head exactly what you want and put it out there. Again, that positive thought thing, right? Put it out there, constantly put it out there. Exactly what you want, how much you want to be paid, the hours of work, your dream job, and keep, and just put it out there. Well, I didn't know this, but she was telling me that she would go into the bedroom and lie on the bed or sit on the bed and turn the lights off, and she'd visualize it.
No kidding.
Yeah, she told me that. I'm really proud of her for doing this because she's worked her butt off in the last 5 months trying to find a job. It's a full-time job just to find a job. Anyways, the dream job just came. She got exactly the job she wanted.
Are you serious?
Wanted. Oh yeah, exactly. She is Monday to Friday, work from home, weekends off, and a pay that's beyond what she wanted.
This is recent. This has got to be within the last.
This is within the last week.
Unbelievable! I am getting chills, and
so when we watched Heal together, and a lot of the parts, she's like, she's like, I did that. So she's like, and I never would have thought of doing it until, you said to do it. And she's done it a few times now and it's worked. And I always told her that when it comes to stuff like visualization, what you want, or when you're putting stuff out there, you can't put time on it. You can't put a time limit on it.
No.
You just have to have faith that it will happen at some point, but you can't put a time because you don't know how long it takes for that to go out, to hit something, to come back to you, right?
Yep.
So back to the office. She's upstairs. We took one of the bedrooms and we made it her office. And she basically said, if you're going to make your office, make it exactly how you want it. So she ordered a desk and everything. And then she when it was done and we put everything together and put it up, she sat there and she goes, this is exactly how I envisioned my office. This is exactly how I pictured it would be. And so, yeah, so she's tickled pink right now. And I'm very proud of her, and she's very happy. So yeah, and I wanted to work from home. I like having my wife home. I work from home, so
Well,
exactly.
I'm proud of you too for giving her such solid advice, and she listened to you as well, which is not a lot of husbands don't necessarily agree with me when I say their wives don't always listen to them. I'm joking. But she took the advice, and I think that's a big topic, and I'm sort of impressed that you're going there, and I got a few things to add to it. But the first thing I got that from you, so I mean, just to float your ego and inflate your head even more. Over the years I've known you, I have retained stuff. Yeah. Well, I don't want to take credit. I mean, I'm really happy that in a small way I might have helped, but that's not where my brain's going. I think it's such a powerful healing tool, and I want to mention something on that. But first, I got to ask you a question. Sure. Look closely at John. You see the way the light's streaming across his face, and you can see the scruff
and the wrinkles, and
no, there's hair on his face. He's looking scruffy today, not his normal handsome self.
No,
but John, my question to you: are you having white balance issues, or are you turning gray?
No, what it is I'm normally on my video camera on this, and I accidentally, I broke the little cord that plugs into it so that I don't have to use the battery, because the battery doesn't last very long on it. And so the new one I ordered doesn't come in till Sunday through Amazon. And I couldn't get my DSLR to work properly in here today. So, because it's a new laptop I just got not too long ago, and I haven't installed the proper software. So I'm on the actual webcam that's on the built-in on the laptop today. So even my green screen's not working to my advantage today. So
it's not bad. I'm just mostly teasing you. I just wanted to point that out, because normally your white balance is bang on. So, let me go back to that same topic. And John, if you have something you want to say about this, because this is a topic that a lot of people go, that's freaking voodoo. I don't buy it. I'm 110,000% a believer in this, because I've witnessed it in my life minimally for 40 years. Minimally. And I've been around a long time, 62 years now. But I can, if I can tell my quick example of the same thing that you're talking about, James, and I want to get back into this, because I think this is important. But you remember when I moved into Carr Avenue, my dream studio, I had moved into the basement. I had an office, and I pulled out a couple months after being there. I pulled out through my desk. I found this sheet. It was a big sheet, and on there it said 5 years. And I had 5 years prior written out my 5-year goals, and one of which was I'm going to be living in a 3,000 square foot home studio with cedar. And it's going to be cathedral ceilings with an awesome home studio, not too far from the city, but not too close. And that's all I wrote. And I was living in exactly that. And I was like, wow, this shit really works. Yeah, that was one of many examples.
My sheet's upstairs underneath in my sock drawer. I pull it out every few years.
Well, I think what Jocelyn did was amazing. She went in at night, turned the lights off, and visualized it. That is really ramping
in
it
the
up.
past 4 years. You know, I use the term faith, and I don't really necessarily say it in a religious side. I just said you just have to have faith the process works. If you have 100% faith that the process will work, and don't put a time limit on it, it will work. And she's done that several times with several different things now. So I don't have to convince her anymore. That's done. She's just now she does it on her own. But I've done it myself several times. I know, like if you put the work in, you have faith, and you do it, it'll happen.
I think you got to underscore a few things you just said. Put the work in.
Yeah,
that's important.
You got to put the work in. Yeah.
So, but having the visualization and the thoughts behind it.
Yeah,
it's really hard to quantify this. It really, really is. So that's why a lot of people are skeptical.
Jocelyn said something when we were watching it here, and we paused it, and we ended up talking for an hour in the middle of it, and then resumed watching it because that's fine. She said something that, because Rob, you touched on it. Like a lot of people, the voodoo thing. A lot of people don't believe in it, and she said that. She says, I said, a lot of people don't believe in it, and she says, I think the reason is because a lot of people don't do this until they have exhausted all other resources. It's kind of like nothing else works, so I might as well try this, and that ends up being the one thing that actually works.
Is that how she?
That's how she was. Yeah.
She thought, well, nothing else is working. I might as well try this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not with this one. Not with with other things in the past. It's
okay.
It's like she's done the visualization thing on several things now, and
it worked out, and she became a believer. All right. So, okay, that's similar to my story because
you have to have a healthy attitude towards it, right?
You do.
Otherwise it just won't work. If you're,
I've had camera systems, cars, houses, and other things come into my life. And it's probably a good reminder for me because, I'm really stressed out and I'm like, maybe I should just listen to what you guys are talking about right now in the here and now with Jocelyn's story. And I'm going to do that. I'll report back to you later.
Get back to your roots there, Rob.
I think, part of this, if I can just throw this in, it's a tough one for a lot of people to say, well, I'm going to make a decision on what it is I want. Like Jocelyn knew she wanted a job. That's good. That's clear. Boom.
Yeah.
But there's many areas in life and or business where we're like, well, I don't know what I want. If I ask for this, maybe it's not what I really want, which I heard before from people. But for me right now is like, okay, I go into worst case scenario. I'm never going to be able to work again in this field because of permanent lockdowns. That's my brain. And it's like, okay, so what do I want as an alternative? So that's a pretty big one to have to sort of reconcile. But
well, let's segue into
broadcaster.
Let's segue into this now. This is No BS Photo Success. So let's talk about how we incorporate everything we just talked about into our businesses. How does that,
Well, I think a lot of it is fear factor. A lot of people are afraid to not just put it on paper, but to actually make the actions to do it. They can put it on paper, but if they're not going to put it in action, and it's that fear factor.
Yeah, and guess what? If you don't put it into action, then you're guaranteed it doesn't happen. That's just it. You don't put the work in.
If you keep doing the same old thing, you're going to get the same old thing over and over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And Rob, like you were saying, people right now have that fear of lockdowns and stuff like that. But we as businesses run on a 5-year goal. So don't see lockdowns happening for 5 years. So what if you put work in now, to kick some ass in 2022? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So something like that. So, you said, well, that's your brain thinking lockdowns. Well, yeah, that's the way it is right now. But you also have to have faith that, things will get back to some sort of normality. Normality, is that the word? Yeah, normality. So put the work in now.
I think I put a lot of my strategies were the same as James earlier on than Rob. Like Rob's always been that switch knife of photography or whatever you call it, the jackknife photography, doing all the different things. And I was that for a while.
Swiss Army knife.
That's it. Whereas I followed James' footsteps. When James, you had your brick and mortar studio there, you used to do all your stuff, your dog days, you used to do babies, weddings, everything. And eventually you're like, you know what? I don't want to do weddings anymore. I think Josh got you at a wedding, so because I think you said one time that Josh said if I do another wedding, she's out.
It was me who brought it up, and then she just jumped on it.
Exactly. And so I was the same way. I was doing everything, but what, 2 years ago, I stopped doing weddings. I wasn't having the fun anymore.
That's exactly it. No fun.
I got out of it. I don't do babies anymore. I actually send them to somebody else. But I'm starting to brand myself more to what I want to do. And I'm finding the lockdowns actually helped me with that, because you could sit back now, reflect, what do I want to do when I'm allowed to open back up again to stay sane? And so I kind of followed your footsteps. Now I'm the opposite, whereas you got away from your brick and mortar because the type of photography you do, you don't need a brick and mortar studio. Whereas me, I still do a lot of portraits and that, and I love having it. So I actually went and got a brick and mortar. So now here I am almost 3 years into this actual studio, and I'm still going. I'm probably going stronger than I was when I first came in.
Just working out.
So that's action. You put it into action. Yep. You did something about it. This is what I want. I'm going to do it. And you put the steps in.
Diana's in the house. Hey, Diana.
I was telling my friend, another friend of mine, who just recently has gone through a 180-degree career change and starting his own business right now. And he called me up last week and asked if he can pick my brain about he's just starting. So we went through all the different things about starting a business and what he should do and all that. And I said to him, because he says, oh, it's a lot of work. I said, it is a lot of work. And a lot of people don't want to put the work in or put the effort in. But I always say, when you own your own business, do something every single day to further your business, no matter how small it is. It could be simply replying to an email or sending an email, or adding a social connection, doing a social media post. That could take you 5 minutes one day. Every day you do something, no matter how small. At the end of the year, you've done 365 things to further your business. 365 different things you did to further your business. Now, how many people can say they did that? Have you done 300 things to further your business this year? Yeah. No, most people will say, no, I haven't. So every day, no matter how small, it could just be making a phone call. It could be jotting notes down. But everybody thinks that action has to be big, big, big. But, you just, you chip at it like a sculpture. You just chip at it little by little by little by little. And then at the end, you've got the fruits of your labor. That's how you get stuff. And now is the time to do something every day because, you've got the time. Like even me, I'm working on a whole new page for my website that I haven't been procrastinating about it. I have it, but now I have to redo it and update it because one of my clients mentioned that, that was a lot of information. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that on there. I need to completely update it. So I've been spending this is my 4th day in front of the computer this week, updating it all. And then it's growing even more because, but this is my one thing every day that I've been doing this week.
Yep. We actually broke down because our computer's about 11 years old, and I'm tired of hearing my wife in there screaming all the time when Photoshop's lagging and freezing and doing this and shutting. So we actually bit the bullet and we went out and we just spent, after tax, I think it came like $3,400 on a new computer system for the studio here. But we had to do it, so it won't be here for another weeks. But
I just said this yesterday. I said this yesterday to Josh. Sometimes, Josh, you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah. Well, now all the cameras are bigger megapixels, bigger files. Yeah. People are getting into video now, all because of the lockdowns and COVID. Everybody's online now, so here we are doing a webcast. So now everybody's shooting more video, and that takes a lot more room. So we had to do that. And like you said, with the website, I had to start. I actually just am building a new website right now. Mine's up still, but I'm actually building a new one right now as we speak through Squarespace, and I'm actually enjoying doing it. I've never done it before myself. I've always hired somebody else to do it. So this is actually fun.
I enjoy working on my website. I update my website on a regular basis. I enjoy adding new content and updating content and stuff like that because, again, that's your brand. That's your window to your business right now, even more so now than before.
And I get all your emails every week or whatever when you have your newsletter or whatever. I get all your newsletters.
Yeah, that sends out every week. Yeah. So the only thing I've lapsed on my website is collecting email addresses. But I've lapsed on that in the last. It's on there, but I haven't really pushed prospective clients to add their email to my newsletter and stuff like that, my weekly updates. But
I have to do a newsletter.
I use LinkedIn for most of that. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, is it something that's a top tier marketing strategy that is essential to you? It sounds to me like it's sort of secondary.
It's not really. Yeah.
You're aware of it. That's half the battle right there. Is just being aware, and you sort of just fessed up and told us about it. That's a powerful strategy and move there. So maybe you'll do something about it. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll say, that's good. I'm not going to collect them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I mean,
the thing.
It is. It is. I leave it on there because, well, basically, it's so you get the weekly updates, like John was saying, like every Monday. Every Monday, my blog sends the weekly posts out.
Yep.
So, I mean, if people don't want to visit my website every day or whatever that I blog, they just it automatically gets in there. But yeah, I usually sometimes actually, and now because the page that I'm actually doing is a why do companies hire James Hodgins? And I used to put all the examples and the different reasons why companies would hire me. So this way I've updated it to showcase, what I do, whether it's like a full mine site or if it's individual manufacturing equipment. And then I'm showcasing how my clients have used the images. So I've stockpiled like their social media posts, marketing materials, or websites. Anytime my image has been used,
cool.
I'm stockpiling in that. So
James, you're using like a testimonial in a sense.
Basically, it's what it is. Yeah, it's
using other people. That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, along with actual video testimonial that I have recorded and stuff like that.
But if you're showing a post if you're showing a social media post from another company and they're using your image, I mean,
yeah,
that's powerful.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, that's what they use my images for. Yeah. So I figured it out. I figured it out today, because I've been stockpiling certain stock photo. There is a couple of mining stock photos that I see the images everywhere. So now I started copying every time I've seen it. So I've got like 30 samples of all these companies using the same photo.
I gotta just clarify, James. Yeah. I think I know where you're going with this, and I think it's really cool. These are stock photos they're not your images.
No, they're not my images.
These are stock photos.
I don't know where they're from. I just see it.
They're just they're typical mining or industrial type images that other companies are using that you did not shoot. When you say stock photos,
there's like three. There's only 3 images, but they're used like everywhere in so many different companies.
Gotcha. So they're using these images. That's a really good. Let's touch on that because when I think of stock photos, typically in a corporate setting, you always got these people sitting around there's a girl and a guy.
That's exactly, yeah.
And it looks so fake. And it's like, don't these people realize that stock photos, you can't hide the fact that they were purchased somewhere. Is that what you're talking about? And,
that's exactly. I mean, if you've been in the photography industry long enough, you recognize a stock photo immediately. You can just tell.
Okay.
Especially for me in the mining industry, I know if it's a stock photo or not because it's.
How can you tell?
Because there's no way it's that clean. There's no way they'd be wearing that clothing. Like it's it just does not happen. Like that's it's just sterile. That's just not the way it is. But anyways, where was I going with?
So stock images. You notice these companies using stock images.
Yeah. So anyways, I was going to do something in regards to that because I've seen the trend where. Stock images are getting less and less usage because the companies need to incorporate, like any other business, needs to incorporate their own personal brand, right? But there's another reason why I went on there, but I talked too long and now I forgot it. There's a whole point to.
You're collecting stock photos.
So I'm showing how the images are being used and stuff like that throughout because they do use it on social media. Oh yes, now here's where I remember I got back on track with stock. So I noticed I've seen a trend over the years where a company will use one of the images that I created for them, like a hero shot image. They will use it in about 9 different platforms, right? So it's going to be like, so what do I have here? So this is where I've noticed they use it. They use it for websites, social media, PowerPoint presentations in their background slides, trade show booths, their product brochures, if there's any magazine, news articles, posters, and advertisements. 9 different things, right? So if I factor in like my average hourly rate and stuff like that, and depending on how many images that I give them throughout the day, if they just use one image, an image costs them around $35 to produce. $35. That's cheaper than buying a stock image.
It is.
So when I go and create images and I'm giving them a small library, those images end up being cheaper than what it would be if you were to be, buy a stock image. And it's of their company, their people, their
That's a really good
makes
angle.
Total sense.
That's kind of where I'm going with that right now.
By the way, that is a Dan Kennedy approved strategy. No, I'm serious because
it's all about return on investment, right? Like it comes down to the title of my webpage is why do companies hire James Hodgins? Well, this is why they hire.
Can I go with reason number 1?
What's that?
He's got awesome hair.
I can't use that to my advantage, so I have to come up with other stuff.
And an awesome beard. Well, you know, well, with you, John, it'd be because he has no hair issues. He has
right. My hair won't get in my eyes. I can see everything I'm doing.
Just the coloring. That's all I got.
When he shaves, he has an awesome clean head. It's just like this amazing. It's like The Rock and Vin Diesel. Anyways,
that's it.
So
that's it.
I love where you're going.
That's what I've been working on.
All right.
Stuff like that.
I expected none of that, just so you know.
Just, you know, every time you go to a job, you always think on, you know, owning your, because again, owning your own business, you are your brand. John, you're the face behind your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we hold ourselves to like the highest professionalism on, you know, on the job with the client all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every time I do a shoot with a client, you know, I'm always thinking like, what could I have done better? It's not that anything went wrong. It's just, what can I do to improve it? What should I do? Because, you know, we take pride. I take personal pride in how I conduct myself as a professional in the industry. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, it's one of those, so it's not just because just like when we photograph weddings, all three of us, we've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. It's not just the photographer. It's not just the photography. It's the photographer. It's the experience you bring, the professional. How much fun are you having? How do you deal with like change, adaptation, stress? Like it's all of that, right? So you're not just hiring, you're not just hiring a cameraman.
No.
Right? No. You're hiring a photographer.
That's right.
You know, photography.
I used to go to so many weddings where there was a videographer there, and he actually at the reception, they're actually drinking beers and stuff while they're shooting in that. And to me, my assistants that knew no drinking while we're here. When you leave and go home, you can have a drink if you want. But while you're here, you're representing me and my business. You're doing a job. That doesn't look good when you see the videographer there, and at his table, he's got some beers there, and he's actually videotaping your event.
Bad optics.
Rob, remember? This was long ago, but it was It was on the news, and it was showing a photographer doing like, I don't know if it was like a trash address or something afterwards. And I remember he's in the park, and he's fanning the dress out, like, you know, to fan it out. Cigarette hanging right off his mouth there. And all I could think about is like, what if an ash just dropped and fell right on the dress?
Burns a hole in the dress or something.
I know, eh?
Oh, jeez.
It's not bad.
It's that professionalism is what you're getting at. You have to show it. It's your brand, like you said.
So that encompasses everything when it comes to your website, marketing material, social media, like, you know, everything. You know, recently, like with my Instagram account, I went through my Instagram account last, it's probably almost a year now. But I went through and I removed every single post that had really nothing to do with my photography. It was like either like, you know, my personal life, because it was, you know, you're supposed to, you know, you always wanted to show like you're a human being, you do, you know, like you can relate, blah, blah, blah. But I removed it all. I removed everything off. It was like 1,200 and something posts that I had to manually remove off Instagram, because now when I have people go to my Instagram, it's strictly my profession, because that's what I want. Do you want to hire a specialist, right? Or do you just want to hire a non-specialist?
Well, I turned mine into, it was just John Butler. That's my personal one now. I actually made a John A. Butler photography one, so that's what I do for my business. The other one's my personal one.
In the last 5 years, especially with my mining, when I started the mining one, I've really come to learn more about, you know, Rob, everything that you've taught me over the years in regards to like marketing and branding and stuff like that. Because I've actually, you know, I was telling Jocelyn, you know, when I started, I was like, Hodgins photography, Rob, you had a big influence in that, because that's when I was starting with you, right? So you had a big influence in Hodgins photography. No BS was big influence with both of us, because it was both of us. But the mining, that was mine. I did all that. That's all mine. And I took everything that I learned out of all those things that we did, and I put it in there, and it works. I've seen it work, like, right? And I enjoy it. So
now, I don't know if you still do it, but I know one thing you used to do, and I was thinking of doing it, but now that everybody's gone online, is you used to always make these folders. You have them printed. I don't know if it was Vistaprint or whatever, that had all your marketing material in it, and you personally mailed that to the different places and stuff.
I do have that. It's all converted to PDF.
Okay.
So I had my friend Jason Landry do from Landry Designs do all the graphics. He does all my graphics and layouts and like all my invoice templates and everything. I have him all and designed all that, and I had him put it all into PDF Q&A, and he did an amazing job. So I had him do all that.
So now you just email it to the clients.
Everything's emailed now. Yeah.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
If you had a new prospective client, print it out and mail it with a handwritten note attached.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I still do like send out cards.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I could do that, but the majority of it is
times have changed.
You know, when they send them in emails, like, can you send them this information? They don't want to wait 3 days for it. They want to.
Oh yeah, well send it, but back it up with in person, because a lot of people would be impressed by that and be like, oh, look at this guy went through the trouble to physically mail it to us.
Yeah.
So
you know what, Rob? I'm not gonna say no to that. That's something.
Just an idea.
Definitely. I'm gonna jot that down. Another thing that
I've been thinking of.
Another thing that I just ended up sending out yesterday to a new client, because whenever I'm done with my client, I ask them for a testimonial, right? Because if you're, again, like, you guys are still getting testimonials, right? I mean, you got to keep your testimonials up. There's nothing worse than going to a website and seeing somebody's testimonials like 2012. You know, like, it's kind of irrelevant now. But I use a system called SpeakPipe. So instead of having them do like a text, I have them go to a specific page on my website on their phone, and they basically leave a voicemail. And so they just leave a voicemail, and it captures it, and then SpeakPipe says, hey, you got a new testimonial, and I can go listen to it. They can listen to it, they can edit it, but basically they're leaving a voicemail. So instead of leaving a voicemail on your home phone line, it puts it in a SpeakPipe. Yeah. And then I just download the audio, and you know, usually what I do, if you go to, I have testimonials somewhere on my website, and you can so I'll put it to a YouTube video with the actual images that I created and stuff like that. But that's come in really handy, the SpeakPipe. I really like that. I mean, if you wanted to, you could easily just convert it to text, right? You just have to take
well, that's what I would definitely suggest anybody do, because some people won't listen to an audio, and some people are more readers, and vice versa. Vice versa. And then you can rent out a plane that's going to drag a big banner across the sky with the same testimonial.
Actually, if you go to my website and you go to testimonials, you'll see.
Is that it right there?
That's it. SpeakPipe.
Actually, I have to change that. Yeah, SpeakPipe. So they just click the start recording, and it's done.
I like that.
But I just noticed that testimonials actually should have the testimonials on there. I just changed that, so I did something wrong, because it should actually show the testimonials, not that voice recording thing.
There's a glitch in the matrix.
I'm gonna look at that right after this.
Yeah, just speakpipe.com. I found it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just right there. I'm definitely going to have to look at that myself, because I got to get better on my testimonials. Now, one thing I am doing, we're starting to get ready to incorporate video into our photography. So offering companies not just photography, but video for their businesses too. And we did have a local company here that we just went and did a whole half-an-hour interview with, and some B-roll, things like that we're actually using. And they've nice. I got a couple more that are actually now going to do testimonials for me, actual video testimonials, and we're going to combine them. So I have one that's going to do a good 5-minute one of all the stuff I've done for them, and then about 5 different people that I've done headshots for do like a minute and a half testimonial, mix it into one 5-minute one of why they use John A. Butler Photography, what they liked about working with me, why they would recommend me, things like that, and put it in a compilation. Because right now, video is big.
Yeah.
Really?
So, yeah, and I'll put that on my website and all my social media and stuff. Just like he said, instead of putting an actual physical testimonial on your page, these will be video testimonials. So,
we get a lot of clients who email us testimonials. That's primarily how I get mine, especially with the fairies. We've got so many of them. They're just very motivated and inspired, so they sort of organically happen quite a bit. But I do not pursue them, although I should, you know, because I could easily accumulate more, but we're getting quite a few. So
I think what I'm going to do, Rob, is I think now that I'm just looking at them and the videos aren't up there, I think I'm going to do what you said. I think I'm just going to take those voice testimonials, and I'm just going to convert it to text and put it back on my page, because it'll load faster. And
any just to sort of add on to that, bounce it up into how you can regenerate new marketing strategies via social media, it's you could take a testimonial from 2 years ago. That'll be one social media post right there with a picture.
Yeah. Yep. If you go to the bottom of my site, if anyone goes to the bottom of my site, you'll see I've got a client testimonial, video testimonial down on there. And that's where you'll see how I incorporated the video with the images and then the person who gave it and stuff like that.
Well, this has been amazing considering we had zero agenda. We got some real gold nuggets going on. I want to tell you guys a little story real quick if I can. It involves my daughter. She was texting me last night. She was having some, I don't want to say struggles, but she was just dealing with something. Primarily, and I feel okay talking about this. If she were here, she'd be, oh yeah, tell that story. It's nothing. It's not a big deal. She's like, oh, I feel overwhelmed, you know, because I got so many ideas, and she's always journaling. She wants to start her own business one day, so she's got that entrepreneurial drive, and I can so see it happening. And but she was overwhelmed and feeling edgy and a little anxious about it. So I'm like, so I texted her back. I said, "Is it time for a father-daughter ride?" She said, "Okay." And she said, "Oh, thank you for doing that." And I said, "Well, you're my sweet daughter." She said, "Oh, I almost cried." But we go for rides all the time, and even 5-10 minutes just to let her talk, and she has to express things. And I let her do that. But the important part of this story is that while she's talking, I'm formulating my words of wisdom from Dad. And that's where I was kind of impressed with what I came up with, and that's what I want to share with you guys and everyone else. So I was telling her, I said, look, when you're thriving for something new, there's always going to be uncertainty because it's untried. This is a new territory. So it's 100% going to be stressful. It's going to create fear. It's going to create doubt. And it's always never going to be a straight line. It's always going to zigzag towards that destination. And something else may show up that's going to be the true path. But the most important thing is not to remain stuck with your head in the sand. You have to constantly be doing that. So I said to her, I said, you're on the right path. You're doing this right. You're reaching into new lands, new destinations, new ideas, new strategies. But the important thing I told her, and this is something that I have personally experienced in my life, and I want to know what you guys feel about this, and that is, the end of the day, when I've got a lot of stuff going on, the end of the day, that's when doubts are the most extreme. I'm tired. It's that simple. So I just got to let it all go and say, I'm just not going to worry about it for today. And I also, and my daughter, to her credit, she journals a lot. She writes all her ideas down. So now she's got a resource to go back to and say, okay, what was it I was thinking about the other day before I had that wave of doubt and anxiety, which again, just because you're tired, she had a really, really busy day. She had a stressful day, you know, and she's going through these emotions at 8 o'clock at night. And she was happy. She was like, man, I so needed to hear that. So I said, well, I'm glad I was able to help out.
Yeah. Well, being overwhelmed it's actually part of the process. It's normal. That's what happened. Yeah.
But exactly. It's all about reaching for something new. Whereas, I explained to her, I said, you know, if somebody was going down a career path and they went to school, they got a 5-year program, that's a structured path, assuming you're academically smart enough and you can do it. But there's always that extra thing missing where you're carving, like anybody in business, even if it's a small business like photography, you're carving a new adventure, and it will create the potential for creativity, innovation. You feel good about it. I mean, it's such an amazing feeling. But also on the downside, you're going to have those struggles, and they're perfectly 100% the norm. Just recognize it, put it aside. So what do you guys think about that?
One quick question before we get into that. Is my screen frozen, or is
it's you? It's your brain.
Okay, it is me. Okay. No, it's just because everybody's frozen and not.
Oh. No, it was just you. Okay. I'm watching the feed on my phone here, and everything looks fine. So.
Good.
Yeah. So I can't see you guys, so I don't know.
We are here as long as you can hear us. So.
I can hear us. Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I think we all go through those kind of struggles. It's that mental illness that everybody's going through, and I don't think I think we were all going through a lot of this before even the pandemic even started, and then now it's just coming to the forefront. I think that's my own opinion.
Speak for yourself, Butler. Mental illness.
There you go.
But I think a lot of people struggled with a lot of stuff that's coming to the forefront. They were struggling with it way before. They were just too afraid to say something.
Now it's coming up.
Now it's coming out.
Agree with you 100%. 100%. Yep. Agree with you 100%. We all had it. We just didn't know what didn't know what it was, or
plus everybody's out doing stuff. The pandemic comes, everybody's online now. Now everybody's expressing themselves online to everybody. That now we're starting to say, "Oh, you're going through that too. I was going through that too," and now it's going around full circle.
Best thing I did when the pandemic hit is I turned all notifications off on my phone except for text messaging. My phone is on silent the whole time. It was the best thing I ever did. It was something like that. Because
I think the best thing I did was I came online like this. I started doing podcasting before we started doing it more professionally like this, but I actually started a thing called Butler's Babble way back when in March, and it just gave my sanity because I'm a people person. I'm used to being out in front of people, hugging people, things like that, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're stuck at home. So this was my way to at least get back out to the people and say, hey, we're still here, let's talk. And I would get people coming on here, and then Warren started his with his Tales from the Tub. And so I'd start watching that with him and Paula in there, and it's a way that I kept connected with everybody. It was just a way to keep that sanity going.
Yeah.
I'm going to start one. It's called Babbles from the Boat. But there's going to be no talking. It's just going to be me fishing. That's it.
Yeah. An hour of James trolling.
There. Shh. The pandemic forced me to fish more. It was tough.
Yeah. I was seeing lots of more pictures of Jocelyn fishing with you too.
Joss got into it 100%. Yeah. And she loves it. Actually, it was by the end of last summer, she was she was basically telling, "Hey, let's go fishing this weekend." Okay, all right. And it was nice having her. It was nice having her off during the week because we go during the week. There's one thing when it comes to fishing, I don't want to see anybody else.
No.
I go to small lakes. I don't like going to lakes that have a lot of cottages on it. I really don't want to see anybody else. Cell phones off. It's like that's my time. The more I fish, the more productive I am at work.
Just because he's going to find a drone and fly it wherever and just have it hovering over.
I even thought about bringing like a drone out with me. I got a 360 camera here, bring it out with me, thinking, maybe I'll start my YouTube channel up again, stuff like that. And then I'm like, that's work. That's work. When really all I want to do is just go out there and just not deal with technology except for my fish finder and just. So I'm always up and down. I always get gung ho about during the winter about maybe doing some videos, and then they come in summertime. It's like no, I'm just going to leave all that at home.
Yep.
Fishing is fishing, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's very Zen-like for you then.
Oh, it is completely. It's a science. There's skill. There's definitely skill to fishing.
No.
Anybody can go out and catch a fish, but it's tough when you go to a new lake that you don't know and you catch a boatload of fish. That's where the skill comes in. Anybody can catch a fish. Catch 40 fish in a day. That's the challenge. That's what I like to do.
Yeah.
Hey, let's read what Hark's saying there. Can we see that?
Yes, we sure can. It's a big one. My son made the decision to go to Queen's Engineering for sole reason that they have an official fishing team. I get out with him and the cottage to cast a few times. Otherwise, it's just fun being out on the water.
Why didn't they have this when I was like in college? Like what?
Who knew?
I've heard of that before. I know that some universities and colleges have fishing teams. I think that's like
who knew?
That'd be fantastic. I would have definitely been involved in that for sure.
And I was never a big fisherman. I can't see myself doing it.
Me neither. It's not my thing, but I can appreciate others who do.
Totally do.
Basically, it's like whatever other passion, hobby you have that decompresses you. That's it. Everybody's got their own thing, right? And just roll with it. And I mean, I don't live to work. I fish to work. Basically, I fish to work. I fish because I am more productive when I'm at home. If I have enough time to get out there and fishing comes first, work comes second. Because if I don't fish, I get antsy. I get agitated. I need, you know, and then my work suffers, my attitude suffers, personality suffers, interactions suffer. So whatever you need to do to go release your stress, you do that first. That should be your main thing.
Yeah.
And then the work comes second, because your work will always be better. Your relationship, everything will always be better. Which brings us full circle into what we were talking about before. You can't take care of anybody else until you take care of yourself.
True.
So
Totally
you're no help to anybody unless you are right in the head and you're right in the body.
Yep.
Man,
You're right, man.
You are a river of wisdom today.
Yeah.
How come it's taking us so long to put him back on here?
Just it's called age. Just age. It's just age, and it's age and life experiences that have, you know, you things you learn don't really sink in until you have to actually experience it and put it into place for yourself. You know.
So I got a question for you, James.
Yeah.
If Hart came up here, Northern Ontario, with his son, would you take him out fishing?
If you brought a big boat, yeah. I just got a small boat.
I think he's got one, and it's going to be the little tag-along boat with the pirate ship.
Yeah. I love. You know, the best way to get to know somebody is go fishing.
Nice.
Go fishing. I've got a few friends that we literally met. Oh, you fish? Let's go out. Okay, we go out, and we've been good friends, fishing buddies ever since. And the only reason we knew each other is we said, "Oh, you fish? Yeah, you want to go tomorrow? Yeah, sure." And that's what it is like in the fishing community. You can meet a guy. Hey, you want to go fishing tomorrow? Don't know anything about the guy. Yeah, okay, well, maybe in my house we'll go out. Mm-hmm. And then for that whole day, you talk, you share your fishing stories and stuff like that. You bond, and that's it.
If it turns out somebody you don't like, you have somewhere to throw the body over the
yeah,
boat.
well, the trick is you never take him to your secret spot. that's the trick, you know. And then in a fishing spot, you pick sucks. You just say, "Well, it must be you, man, because I normally slay them here, man. So it's got to be you."
Hark says he'll bring out his bass boat.
Yeah,
perfect. I got some beautiful lakes to go to. Beautiful lakes.
So, James, we're going to have you back on because this has been really exciting and enlightening. And
yeah, sure.
We're going to wind her down in a few minutes because we're trying to keep it to an hour. We keep going overtime, and
no worries.
There's lots there, and for everybody who joined us. And if you have any questions, I will
say that it wasn't for you two, I wouldn't be where I am today, because I don't know how, but somewhere around 2007, 2008, I came on to No BS Photo Success somehow.
Yeah.
Seeing all your guys' crazy little antics and your little videos of your how-tos and your behind the scenes, and I've stolen stuff from both of you just to make my business run. I still have things that I do that I got from James actually for my graduation pictures. I still use my little 4x6 card sometimes. It has a before and an after of what it's going to look like after.
I just brought one of those. Brought one up on my computer yesterday when I was going through my update there.
Because that came with the thing that you did with your cousin there. You used to go to the one college there and do the grad pictures, and you had to buy scenes. And Rob was sitting there videotaping. You're showing how you're doing it through Photo Mechanic, and you're printing your things there.
Keep an eye out for my cousin there, Joe Rowe Photography, because he's changing pace right now. And I will admit this, that some of his product photography, which he just started doing like within the last month, is some of the best I've ever seen.
Unbelievable.
Best I've ever seen. It blows my mind.
He's officially he's officially in the DB club.
So he's still shooting those grads, but now with the pandemic and everything, he wants to branch out and start doing some more creative stuff. And he's got a creative mind and a designer background. So stay tuned for him. You're going to see some. That could be somebody else you should get onto the show.
We will
definitely.
Because he's been a photographer almost as long as you, Rob.
I don't think anybody has been as long as Rob.
I got a few years on John, but not that many. So.
Yeah, but he's the one that taught me f-stops and shutter speeds. Was my cousin.
Yeah. I remember slapping you in the back of the head in early, just 20 years ago. We go to a place
because it was in the center. My subject matter was in the center.
Well, it was all about the lighting too, and I'm like, I didn't actually slap him. I wanted to.
Yes, you did. No, you did. No, you see, I don't call it abuse. Like you did. You did the old, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, I remember.
It was one of those loving smacks. It's like, what are you doing? Come on, you know better than that.
Too bad you weren't like this. You'd really hear it there.
Yeah.
And James would be like, "What? What? I was, where's the light coming from?" And you'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's so simple." And a lot of people don't understand that.
It's funny because I remember that distinctively. The actual, not the scuffing on the head. I think that was in the studio after looking at a picture when it was centered. But the finding of the light was done at the Bell Mansion here in Sudbury. Rob used to do a lot of outdoor stuff there, and it was a building, and the light was coming in. So once I remember that because once you said, "Well, look, here's your light," and I was like, "Oh, bing, I get it." And literally, I remember driving downtown the next day, and I saw light everywhere on different, the way the light hit the Civic building, and the light hit in the shadow, and I completely saw the world through a photographer's eyes with light and shadow and highlights. Eureka. And a light source. It was. I remember that distinctive.
That's amazing.
Everything changed.
Did you see it also in movies and such?
Oh, even more so now when I got an HD TV. I just got an HD TV, and for the first few weeks, it took me a hard time to actually watch anything because I was viewing it like I was sitting in the studio in the director's chair, saying, "Oh, the light source is here," like it was so, Yeah. But I mean, we still do that. Any image that I look at anywhere, I mean, where's the light source? What kind of light source is it? Natural? Is it artificial? How many difference do they have? Yeah, that's come into a key role with my photography is light sources. Yeah, trying to replicate ambient light using external sources. Yeah, but making it look like it's the ambient light.
There's the name of your new book.
Yeah,
trying to lighting strategies by James Hodgins.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. So, shall we wrap it up or what?
Yeah, I guess we're getting there.
Well, thanks for reaching out and having me.
Oh, I'm glad you came on.
It all worked out. The phone worked out. I got to say, the phone.
I don't think I've seen James since what was it? 2011's Inferno, I think.
Well, you know what? You know what? Picture of you behind him.
You know what, John? What I did was when I changed my strategy over to the mining, I basically dropped off
the earth.
Not off the earth, but just when it came to photographers and photography. I dropped everything because I wanted to concentrate on my stuff without being influenced by anybody else. I just wanted to forge my own way. So that's where no more associations, even like postings on forums. It was just, I just dropped it. Best thing I ever did. I will admit it was the best thing I ever did because it really made me look at trying to come up with my own brand, my own signature, my own style. And even now with most of my social media, I mean, sorry to say, but if you're a photographer, you're probably not going to get accepted on any of my social media because photographers don't hire me. I'm not selling to photographers. So I don't need photographers on my social media.
It's like when Tina and I always had a full-time employee, one of our rules became don't hire photographers. Exactly. Because they don't want to sit at the computer all day long. Somebody with video editing experience... Yeah, because that's what they do. They sit at the computer screen all day long. Yeah. But anyways, we'll have you back, James.
Thank you very much. Yep.
Hopefully you'll come back sooner.
Yeah, no worries. This worked out fine with the phone. It was easy. I'm sitting at my desk most days, so
perfect.
Yeah.
Half the battle sitting in front of a computer.
No. Good luck with your new computer, John. Should have got a Mac.
John. Nice seeing you, John.
No, I'm PC all the way.
Should have got a Mac. I'm joking.
Should have shot raw.
Although I do shoot raw, though.
Yeah, so do I. I won't go back. I can't go back.
I don't. I'll never go. I've tested. Let's get out of here before we get a fight.
Yeah, let's not get into that one. Right?
All right. And hope maybe next week we'll have somebody else on here too.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Bye. We'll see you later.